Hello to everybody on YouTube. I haven't done this in a while where I've gone both YouTube and Facebook live. I thought about I haven't fired up the YouTube in a while, and I know there's a segment of folks that like to watch on YouTube, and so I just realized that I probably should fire up YouTube. So if I'm not looking right at you, that's why. Forgive me. So hello, as people figure out that we're on live. Hello, William. How are you? Darlene, Tanis, Nicole, Bob, Scott. Hello, the MRZFR 600. Hello from Beaverton. Or hello to Beaverton over on Facebook or on YouTube. So it's Friday Night Live. Let me just get the camera perpetuated here. Okay. Oh, hi, Ross. And how's Logan? Hi, Logan. Good to see you. Well, I mean, so to speak. Courtney, hello. Colleen, Natasha, Regina, Bob, of course. Yeah, I think I said hi to you too. Hello, Gary. Hello, everybody. You know, I didn't do this last week, and it's kind of funny. I'm waiting for Marion from St. Paul to get on here because Marion, she sent me a message last week. She said, Bill, are you doing Friday Night Live? And I said, you know, I'm not in the mood to do it tonight. I'm sorry. I'm very tired and I'm going to bed early. And I did. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Julie. Hi, Robert. Hi, Annette. I was really exhausted last week for some reason. And I just didn't feel like doing it. Hi, Tammy. So I didn't do a Friday Night Live video last week, so I'm sorry. And now, of course, I do this. And Marion, sweet Marion from St. Paul is not on with us yet. So everybody call Marion in St. Paul and say, where are you, Marion? So it's open discussion, as always. If you've not watched my videos before, I try to answer questions. I have a few things I want to talk about that I'll do first. But most of all, I want to answer your questions. Thank you, Tammy. It's very kind of you. Today was a really tough day. Today was a tough day. And I'll tell you why. So last night at about, what was it, around 7:30, 7:45, the governor made her announcement that she was putting everything on pause for the counties to move forward or not move forward or whatever. And then later today, her press release said something about what'd she call it? A red light or a yellow light means slow, which is kind of funny because in a way, a yellow light, you still, you slow down, but you still proceed through the yellow light to a certain point, and then, it's going to turn red, so you stop. But a red light means stop. A green light means go. A yellow light means, well, kind of get through there. And she called it a yellow light today. She said it's not a stop. It's not a red light. It's a yellow light. And yet it's a red light. If there's anybody tonight that's listening to me that lives in Multnomah County, to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of Portland. I'm not a big fan of Multnomah County. No offense. But I feel really bad for you. And I'll tell you why. Because think about all of the restaurants and bars and other establishments who at 7:00 last night were getting ready to get their business ready to open today, to have sandwiches and steaks and fish and so on and so forth, right? And so you buy all that stuff if you're a restaurant bar owner, and you get it all ready because tomorrow's opening day. And then boom, at 7:45, you're told, no, never mind, you can't. What do you do with all that stuff? So though I'm not a big bleeding heart for Multnomah County, I do feel sorry for them. I feel it's wrong. And then when you think about all the counties that were in phase one that aren't moving to phase two, and those that are in phase two stay in phase two, I don't understand it. Except this. Now, if you were with me 2 Fridays ago, I told you on this Friday Night Live, I said tonight, people are marching in the streets of Portland and eventually Salem and Eugene and Ashland, and they were even marching over in Umatilla County and other places. They were marching all over the state for police reform and racial equality and so on and so forth, which is fine. It's your First Amendment right to do so. But did you really think that you weren't going to somehow cause an outbreak of this coronavirus? When there were thousands and hundreds of people to gather together in a very small, confined area. I mean, there were thousands on the Burnside Bridge night after night after night. Did you not think there was going to be an outbreak? I mean, of course there was. Of course there was. And what gets me is that the Oregon media, OPB, the Oregonian, Willamette Week, Portland Mercury, you name it, whatever it is, are trying to make it out as if the outbreak, the spike in COVID, was caused by the counties that opened in phase one and phase two. Really? How does that affect Multnomah County? Let's just walk through the logic for just a moment, okay? So before you start commenting and sending questions, just listen to me for a second. Just think about this for a second. If you're in Multnomah County and you're locked down and you're in, I don't know, make up a county, Yamhill County, and you're in phase two, which county is most likely traveling to visit the other county? Is Yamhill County people, are they going to Multnomah County? Of course they're not. Multnomah County people are coming to Yamhill County because it's open. I mean, hello, how hard is this? And then when you have all the marching and the protesting and so on, and God bless them, that's great. That's your right to do that. I'm not knocking that. What I'm knocking is, don't tell me that it was because of counties that were open that we have this spike in COVID. That's crazy. That is crazy talk. It's okay. So the experts, the scientists, and we're all science-based here, right? The science says that their gestation period for the COVID virus, which they don't really know, is somewhere between 5 and 14 days. So 2 weeks ago tonight, when the first protest started, I said, let's wait till 2 weeks from now, and when we have the full 14 days, and let's see if we have an outbreak or not. And of course, we have a spike. What did you think was going to happen? So to punish the state because a few people decided to go out and march in the streets, which is their right, this is wrong. This is wrong. And so that was blow number one that came last night. Blow number two that came this morning, early around 10 o'clock or so, was when the Supreme Court justices determined that the Circuit Court Judge Shurtleff was incorrect in his injunction and overruled and threw it out. That was a big blow. And let me just talk about that for just a moment. Let me give you a little bit of stuff that I know about. People have said to me here on my Facebook page and otherwise, they've said, well, we'll take it to the U.S. Supreme Court. Well, here's the thing. The U.S. Supreme Court already ruled against churches. The Supreme Court Justice, why can't I think of what you call the Chief Justice, thank you. The Chief Justice, John Roberts, ruled and wrote an opinion against the churches in a very similar lawsuit that has been filed in the Oregon Supreme Court. Is it dead? Not on paper. Is it dead? Yes. It's not going to go to the U.S. Supreme Court because it's not going to get past the Oregon Supreme Court. So it's over. Blow number 3 that came today for me, and should be for you, was that they're not called inmates or prisoners anymore. They're called adults in custody. Those who are in jail, many of them are being let out because they have the coronavirus, and we don't want them to have an outbreak in the prisons, so therefore we let them loose. That was 3 strikes. Add to that a 4th strike, because if you know anything about baseball, there's no such thing as a 4th strike, so I'm adding it as a new rule in baseball, 4th strike. 4th strike is that it looks like we're going to have a special session. And if you don't understand what that means, let me give you a short, real quick thing. So in the long session, which is in the even numbered years, we go for 135 days, 130 days, something like that. But the point, it doesn't matter the days. The point is there's a start and there's a finish. In the short session, in the even numbered years, it's 35 days. There's a start and there's a finish set by the Constitution. In a special session, it can go forever. There's no start and there's no finish. So if you don't understand that basic principle, you're not understanding that a special session is not a good thing for Oregon. And here's the thing. I'm trying to convince people in my particular caucus and in the Senate Republican caucus, we don't want to be there. We don't want to be there. Why? Because they're going to run policy bills that we don't want. And I'll just leave it at that. We do not want a special session. Now, can we as Republicans walk out? I suppose. But remember, there's no end to it. When we walked out before, there was an end. At this point, we had to come back or not come back, and it was over. There's no end. It could go till November 3rd. And you may say, oh, that's easy, Bill. Just disappear till November 3rd. So all of our campaigns are dead. You know what's the only thing that will change Oregon is for us to win some House seats and some Senate seats. So if we're not campaigning, we're not going to win seats. So what did we accomplish? Nothing. So there's no walkout that's going to happen. This is not the time for a walkout. This is a time when we have to fight. And we have to make sure that we are on the record as saying no to bad policy and no to budget cuts that are not smart budget cuts, that are political budget cuts. No, we have to be smart. So I urge my colleagues in the Oregon House Republican Caucus and in the Senate Republican Caucus to be smart. Okay, so that's the things that I wanted to touch on tonight. I'm sure there are other things. Let me go to your questions and see if I can catch up a little bit with what you are asking and what you're curious about. Feel free to write your question in there. I wish there was a way we could talk together, but we can't. Oh, man, there's a lot of comments here. I can't go back far enough to find them all. Tanis Reich, I think the analogy I would use is traffic. You're traveling along Interstate 5 at a high speed with others, then you and others. Oh, it just disappeared. Okay, well, I can't keep up with your comments because they're going too fast. Sorry. Okay, then you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. What can we do? So about 46% of eligible voters voted in the primary. Now, I don't want to hear about they changed my ballot, they changed my registration, they blah, 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 because that's not true. I'm sorry. There are people that are going to be upset by that answer, but it's a very small amount of people that there's some glitch in the system. But for the most part, Representative Mike Neerman and I found out that for the most part, it's people who change their own registration and don't remember and never vote in primaries. Now, please remember, the general election, everybody gets the same ballot, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Green Party, or an aardvark. You get the same ballot. So your registration it's not as important right now. In the primary, Republicans get a ballot, Democrats get a ballot, NAVs get a nonpartisan ballot. Okay, 46% of eligible voters turned out for this last primary election. That's a lot of flipping people that did not vote. So don't tell me that you're upset with the system or you're upset if you're not voting. How do we change everything? By voting. 200 and some thousand people who were eligible to vote in the general election of 2018 did not vote. Then don't complain to me. I'm sorry. You know, I'm about freedom and liberty, but you've got to exercise your freedom and your liberty. All right, let me see if I can catch up with some of you. So the point is vote. I tell you what I want to do. I want to feature a few races that I think are very important, and we'll talk more as we get closer to the fall and late summer and so on and so forth. Really important, winning House and Senate seats. The most important race in Oregon is Secretary of State. Why? I don't know if you know this. But every 10 years, the census is done. The next year, redistricting is done. Have you heard of redistricting? Redistricting is the lines that are... So I am the state rep from House District 25. And it's a funny little district that's shaped like a banana. It comes down from Newburgh through St. Paul into Kaiser and then around and back up again. It's a very funny shape. One of the weirdest districts is actually over in the Bend district. The Democrats wanted to have a Democrat district in Eastern Oregon. So they made a little circle around the city of Bend. And that's Democrat. There's a donut around it. Imagine a donut with the hole. The hole is Bend, and the donut is Redmond and some other areas. That's called redistricting. They draw the lines for the House and the Senate seats and the congressional seats. That's done every 10 years. The next time is next year, 2021. It's based on the census. And the way it works in our Oregon Constitution is the Oregon legislature draws the lines. If the Oregon legislature can't come up with an agreement of some sort on those lines, then it falls to the Secretary of State. Thus, the most important race in Oregon is not, don't use this against me as if I'm some kind of never Trumper. It's not President Donald Trump. That is a very important race. But not in Oregon. It's not the most important race. The most important race in Oregon is Secretary of State. We must elect Kim Thatcher, because then that redistricting, if the legislature doesn't decide it, falls to the Secretary of State. Now, another way around that is to make sure that we win some House and Senate seats. Or, as Stacy has just posted, thank you, Stacy, People Not Politicians Oregon. That's IP 57. That's an initiative petition to get on the ballot for November that would create a citizen, a nonpartisan citizen task force, workforce, whatever you want to call it, committee that would choose the lines, that would draw the lines. That's what I'd like to see happen. Is it the best solution? No. In the circumstances that we are in currently, yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, so we need to win some House and Senate seats. We need to hold. So remember, we're 38-22 in the House, 38 Democrats, 22 Republicans. In the Senate, it's 18-12. How many seats? Somebody want to guess how many seats we have to win? If we want to get majority, we need to win 9 seats. If we want to tie it up, we need to win 8 seats. Yeah, 30-30. If we want to have at least some parity, and that's what I would love to have majority, don't get me wrong. But here's what I would like to see, at least some parity, because there are some moderate Democrats in the Oregon House that would like to work with us. And if we could get 5, 6, 7 seats in the Oregon House flipped Democrat or to Republican, we could work with some Democrats and we can make some amazing things happen. Same over in the Senate. They need to win 4 because Betsy Johnson makes the 15th because she's almost a Republican. So do you see how important this is? Secretary of State and then House and Senate seats. Very important. We have got to win some seats. I just so you know, when I ask you for money for my campaign, it is not necessarily for my campaign. I ask for money about once every couple of weeks. I say, please send me your $50 or your $100. I'm not just asking for your money. So it doesn't do me any good. I don't do any. Here's what I do. I use it to help some of these candidates. Now, I have chosen about 8 candidates that I think have a very good chance of winning in the Oregon House. And there's at least 2 in the Oregon Senate that I think could win. That's not counting defending seats, meaning keeping the seats we have. And so I send money to those campaigns so that hopefully it helps them to win their seats. So when you give to Friends of Bill Post, you're giving to help others. What you're doing is you're trusting me with your money, with your hard-earned money. You're saying, Bill, I trust you that you know where best to use this money because I don't know. So I'm not trying to turn this into a fundraiser, but I'm just saying that's why I do that. Is my campaign important? Yes, absolutely. I have a budget of here's how much I think I'm going to try to spend in my campaign. And hopefully I don't have to spend any more. And then I use everything else on other races. For you, though, on Facebook, I'm hearing, is it breaking up? Is it disconnecting? I'm sorry. I can't help it. I have a hard internet. It's supposed to be high speed. Sorry. Sandrine writes, Secretary of State is the very most important race, House and Senate too. Yeah, it's the most important. Yes, Anna Kasachev is one of them in House District 22. Anna Kasachev, Woodburn, Jervis, North Salem. Let's see. John, I'll tell you what. Here's the thing. I agree with you. This commission that would be formed by the ballot measure is not the best choice. But would you rather have the supermajority or the majority Democrat draw the lines? Sean points out it looks like junk mail. The envelope that comes that says people, not politicians, it looks like junk mail. Don't throw it out. It's really good stuff. Sign that petition. Let's see. Darlene says everybody in her house signed it today. Good. Sandrine, I voted for Kim Thatcher in the primary. Good. Let's see. Let me try to catch up with some of your questions. Oh, Carrie says, no, it's good. Okay, good. The feed is good tonight. I know we had a problem a couple weeks ago with things were breaking up. Okay. Thanks for the, yeah, Anna Kasachev is awesome. Oh, yeah. Comments are off from the live feed. That's true. And for those watching on YouTube, thank you. There's several people watching on YouTube right now. There's several people watching on Facebook. Throw me your questions. Sean, you're a breath of fresh air. Let us know what's actually going on. Go in Redmond. I appreciate your time and effort. You bet. No problem. Look, I represent Kaiser, St. Paul, and Newburgh. But I'm here for the entire state of Oregon. I do whatever I can to help. And education is one of the things that I'm big on. So in case you're new to my page or new to this live video that I do, one of the reasons I do this is because I'm a talk show host. I have been a radio DJ for over 40 years. I was a talk show host for 10 years. I did a show called, I know this is very creative, the Bill Post Radio Show. And I did this talk show for many years. And on that show, I found that though I very much am a big fan of Lars Larson, one of the things about Lars that bothered me was he doesn't spend enough time on Oregon issues. And that's okay because he's a national talk show host now. And that's great. But I felt like there was a niche, like there was something missing in Oregon. And that was somebody talking about Oregon, elections, politics, the legislature, so on and so forth. So I started my show back in 2008. And I talked on the radio every day, 3 hours a day. I miss that. And so these Friday night videos are kind of my way of doing the radio show again. I also use my hands a lot. Sorry about that. Hey, Alex from Christmas Valley. Well, Virginia, I am not going to. Here's the thing. Virginia asked about one of my caucus members, the one from Bend, Sherry Helt. I'm not going to comment on one of my caucus members. Do I agree with her? No. But I'm going to tell you what. There's 22 of us in the Oregon House, Virginia, 22 Republicans. Would you rather have 21 or 26 or 29? I can't deal with the purity right now. I need an R on the jersey so that at least we have the numbers. And then when I have the numbers, I can talk to somebody and say, hey, you need to think better about this. So that's what I'll say about that. Let's get the numbers first, and then let's worry about the purity. Is that not reasonable? I'm in Portland. Any recommendations for us who want to vote for medical freedom? I don't know. I've not asked the candidates in Portland where their stances are on that, because you know what? God bless them just for running in Portland. I mean, there are some seats up there that are 95% Democrat registration. What do you expect? The fact that somebody is willing to run in that kind of district, God bless them. Yeah, we're helping Anna right now. Mike asks, is the Marion County Republicans or the state party helping out candidates like Anna? Absolutely. We're doing phone calls for Anna right now. Where are you, Mike? Are you working in the Marion County party? Marion County just sent out an email 2 nights ago asking people to call for Anna. If you're not plugged into your county party, you're missing it. Yeah, Tanis, that's another great one. House District 26, which is Wilsonville, Sherwood, Bull City, some of those places. We have a great candidate there by the name of Peggy Stevens. Top notch. Bennett, I missed the talk show, listened almost every day you were on. Thank you. I miss it too, Bennett. There's Marion. Marion, we talked about you earlier. We said, where's Marion? There's Marion, everybody. Marion from St. Paul. Okay. I'm far more reasonable than Lars. I'll tell you what the big difference is. Okay, I'm going to be kind here. The difference between my show when I was on the air and between Lars's show when he was on the air is, or he's still on the air. Here's the thing. For me, having a guest, so let's say I had Mike Neerman on as my guest. Mike Neerman is my guest on my show. Therefore, he is the star of the show. And so when I interview Mike Neerman or whoever my guest is, they're the star of my show. I don't interrupt them. I don't ask them questions that were really tough. I pretty much lob softballs, and I try to. I'm just saying. To me, that was the way I did things. When you were a guest on my show, you were the star, and therefore you're the featured attraction, and people are listening to hear what you have to say. Lars doesn't quite do it that way. Lars kind of does it. It's his show, and you're on the show, and that's why I felt like mine was a little bit different. Let's see. Michelle asks, how do I donate by snail mail? If you go to my website, billpost.com, and click on the donate button, the address is right there. It says send checks payable to Friends of Bill Post, and it has the address. Justin asks a great question. Do you think they'll let the public in to petition their representatives for a special session at the Capitol? Let me ask you, Justin. The governor has said, no, we can't have 250 people in one building. If we have 90 legislators and just one staff person, that's 180 right there. Plus you have Legislative Revenue Office, Legislative Fiscal Office, the legislative, the LPRO staff. You have all the other staff that are down in the basement. You have the Legislative Council. You have the janitors. You have everybody. There's over 250 people. How are we going to meet in the Capitol? So are they going to let the public in? You tell me how. Kathy, are you for the recall of Kate Brown? Let's talk about that for a minute. That's a great question. Yes, I'm for the recall of Kate Brown. Unless it detracts from winning the Secretary of State and House and Senate races. If people spend all their time doing this recall and they forget about the House and Senate races and they forget about the Secretary of State race with Kim Thatcher, then it's a waste of time. Keep in mind, if we recall Governor Kate Brown, let's back up. Let's go through the process. We get enough signatures. She has two options. One, she can just step down. She's not going to do that. So then we go to a special election. And the special election is not somebody over Kate Brown. It's just, do you want to keep Kate Brown as governor or do you not want to keep Kate Brown as governor? So let's say even if she loses that and more people say no than yes, then what happens? The Democrats get to appoint the next person in line, which is not Secretary of State Bev Klarna because she was appointed. It is Tobias Reed, the treasurer. Now, let's say that's done in December of 2020. He is the incumbent in November of 2022 when that seat comes open again, and he has incumbency power. And if you don't understand incumbency power, I can't help you. The incumbent has a 90% chance of winning every time. They start at 90%. So I'll ask you back, Kathy, do you think the recall of Kate Brown is a really great thing to do right now? I think it was in 2019, not this year. We're in an election year. We need to win races. And that's all that matters. Win races. So I signed it. I sent mine in already, but I'm not going to waste a lot of time on it. Let's see. Marion County Republicans are the best. Absolutely. Good job, Mike. Way to go. Must we get the new ID for the next election? No. They put that off because of COVID. And Sean, I just answered about the recall. And Kathy, I'm sorry it broke up, but I just answered about the recall. And there's a link. If you want to sign the recall, go ahead. Hi, Teresa from Jackson County. Who would you back in that area? Oh, Jackson County. That's easy. Kim Wallen is your state rep. And who's your state senator? It's either Herman. No, Herman's retiring. Art Robinson is running for the state senate down there. It depends on what part of Jackson County you're in. So Teresa, I don't know Jackson County that well. I mean, I know it, but I don't know who's what, where. You would have to tell me exactly where you live and everything. Here's the thing. I use Google for everything. Use Duck, Stop, Go, whatever it's called. Use whatever search engine you want. But here's what I do. Just Google, who is my state representative? And there's a website done by the Secretary of State site that you type in your address and it'll show you who your state rep, who your state senator, and who your congressman is. It's great. Peggy, I talked about it earlier. You're going to have to go back and look at the earlier part. I believe IP 57, People, Not Politicians, is a great petition for where we are now. Let's see. Yeah, Darlene, a great plug for Marion County. If you're watching us in Marion County, the Marion County Republican Party meets the third Thursday of every month at 6:30 at the VFW Hall on Hood Street. What kind of new taxes is the governor looking at during this special session? I've not heard of any new taxes. They're talking about budget cuts across the board, all kinds of budget cuts. And they're talking about policy bills. And it's the policy bills that I'm scared about. Tanis asks another question. You're not bugging me. Do you believe any congressional seats in Oregon have a chance at flipping? If so, which one? I will tell you based on numbers alone. Registration Edge, DRRD. I believe that Alex Skarlatos has a very good chance of flipping Congressional District 4, Peter DeFazio. I think Amy Ryan Corser, has a very good chance in CD5. The problem is the money and the numbers are not quite there. Could we push her over the top? Absolutely. But I think Alex Skarlatos, who has outraised Peter DeFazio, out fundraised him in the last couple of quarters, has a very good chance. Kara, want to know who's going to come forth as a candidate for governor in the next election? Well, it's 2022. That's the next time that comes up. I've not heard any rumors of anybody yet. I think everybody wants to get through this 2020 election, and then we'll get around to 2022. The SOS is key. That's very good. Marion, you hear me fine. That's great. There's more links. So by the way, use these. It's very nice that people put links on my comments in the comments thing there. So use those links. I want to know who runs for, I don't know who, Kara, I don't know who's running for governor in 2022. It's 2 years from now. I mean, we have plenty on our plate right now. Just worry about Secretary of State, House, and Senate right now, okay? Please focus. Stay right here. Focus. I don't think anybody, Carrie, knows where we are with the recall signatures because they're just getting them in, and don't worry about it. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Thank you, Susan. Jane clears up. The recall goes to the end of August. We have thousands of signatures in just 9 days. There you go. There's an answer. Will I be running as governor in the next election? Even if I were, I wouldn't tell you today. I'm running for state representative for House District 25. Let's see. What else we got going? Stacy, you're right. We can do both, but I do not want anybody to lose focus. Please don't lose focus. We've got to win House seats. We have to win Senate seats. We have to win Secretary of State. We cannot take any energy that we can't focus towards those things. Yeah, I think 2019, Bennett writes, good advice to wait on the recall. I think 2019 and 2021 are a good time to do those because they're off election years. Oh, Bob's watching on YouTube. How you doing, Bob? Kara, I tell you, I'm not saying no. I'm just saying right now I'm focused on House and Senate seats. Darlene. All right, we've gone for 38 minutes now, approximately, and that's a long time, especially in dog years. And it's a Friday night. It's 7:36 on a Friday night, and you're doing this? What does that tell you about your life? Okay, Marion says now there's interruptions in the transmission. I'm sorry. It must be St. Paul, Marion. It's got to be St. Paul. Mike asks, are phone calls the best way to help candidates? Yes, they're a very good way. Here's number one. Number one, they need money. I know. But there's an old saying in politics, money is the mother's milk of politics. If I don't have money in my political action committee, Friends of Bill Post, I can't buy TV ads, radio ads, newspaper ads, digital ads, Facebook ads. I can't do those. And so our candidates need money. I'm just going to tell you right now, the Democrats outraise us 3-1 every 2 years, 3-1. 2 years ago in 2018, they raised $6 million for House races alone. Not counting, do you remember the governor's race where Governor Brown raised like $24 million? We don't have the public employees unions. We don't have those kind of people. We rely on people like you sending $50 or $100. So that's why I ask you, if you aren't sure which candidates that you should send money to, when I'm asking you to use my PAC, Friends of Bill Post, as your clearinghouse, so to speak, because I send it to them. This week, I sent in the last 9 days, I've sent about $9,000 to House Republican candidates. $9,000. That's your money that you sent to me, and I'm sending it on. Let me get to some other questions. Let me go back to that. Oh, Sophia, glad you're my rep. Hey, no problem. Thank you. I didn't see Verity's question. Students cannot be turned away. I didn't see the question. Sorry, they're going too fast. The comments are going zoom, 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 and I can't keep up with them. Yeah, Bennett, we love St. Paul. The policy bills, will they affect LEOs, law enforcement officers? Mm-hmm. Yeah. The rumors, I don't have anything on paper. I can't tell you exactly. I don't know. I've just heard that everything is about police reform. Hi, Carrie. You're welcome. Why can't you buy ads? No, because you have to have money to buy ads. So, Cian, somebody earlier asked, what can we do to help candidates the most? We need money. That's how we buy ads. That's how we buy flyers to send in the mail. That's how we buy letters to send letters, everything. That money is the mother's milk of politics. That's all there is to it. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh, Shannon, I'm sorry about the unemployment. Obviously, if you're unemployed and you're not getting the money, I'm not asking for your money. Do Oregon Republicans get any money from the RNC? That's a great question, and I can't answer that. Sometimes, and sometimes they don't. That's the RNC is the Republican National Committee. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Carrie, you're welcome for the reminder. Just click on billpost.com and click on the little donate button. Don't forget, you have $50. In essence, it's free money. It's your Oregon political tax credit. If you look at your tax return every year, there's a little box you check, $50 per person, $100 per couple. You give that to a political action committee like Friends of Bill Post, you get it back on your taxes next year. Let me explain. That means if you owe $100 on your taxes and you gave $100 to a PAC like Friends of Bill Post, you owe $0. It's not a credit, or excuse me, it's not a refund, it's a credit. Thank you, Darlene. Thank you, Sally. Kara, Verity's question was, have I read the ODE thing? I have. I think the Oregon Department of Education is looking to completely redo education in Oregon using COVID as an excuse. Marion's signing off because the broadcast came to a halt. I don't know it's St. Paul. There's Tanis writes a really good comment. If you get a chance to read that, she says, shameless plug for Bill Post. I make less than $10,000 a year due to college. Everyone who files taxes gets a $50 tax credit, $100 for joint, for donating to a PAC. You will get this back on your taxes in 2021. That's how I can afford to donate. It's exactly it. You may not have the $100 right now, but if you can afford to push it on, you get it back in your taxes next year. So it's kind of like a loan almost for 6 or 8 months or 9 months, whatever it is. The ODE guidelines, they're terrible. I've not read them with a fine-tooth comb yet, but I don't think they're any good at all. I think they're using coronavirus to change how we educate our children. I think it's terrible. No, Sean, you cannot. Sean asks, if we donate, can we designate who we want it to go to? No, you would have to find that directly. That's called pass-through money. Can't do that. I cannot send money where you want me to send it to. That's the trust thing. You're going to have to trust me. And I understand if you don't, that's fine. I'm not insulted by that. Let's see. Thanks for the reply, Bill. I don't want to see what's happening in Seattle happen here. Our law enforcement officers, our police in Salem and up the canyon. I love my police right here in Kaiser. We don't have any police in St. Paul. We have the Marion County Sheriffs. They're great. And we have police in Newburgh. They're great. Teresa, you're welcome. I love doing this because I love educating people. Not that you need educating, but I love telling people about how government works. John, thank you. Very kind of you. Let's see. Oh, so Facebook keeps freezing up, but YouTube is working. If you're on my Facebook page, I have a link to the YouTube page, and I'm on there too. Oh, tennis. Sorry, you're a boy. Just need to poke over. Sorry. Yeah, John Landry, I mentioned that early in the broadcast. I saw that. Letting prisoners out because they have COVID so they can infect us. It's great. Not a country. Okay, I'm going to sign off for now. I want you to have a great weekend. I wish you all the best. Understand, I'm very tired. I'm very discouraged. I'm very down, but I'm not out. I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep doing what I can. And I keep fighting for Oregon. I love this state. I mean, this is my home. You know, I came here when I was 10 years old. And I fell in love the moment I got here when I was 10 years old. Look, I'm almost 60 this year. I turned 60 this year. So 50 of my 60 years have been in this state. And I love it. I don't know. I can't even remember before I came here. So understand, everything I do is for Oregon. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, it's fine. I don't care. You're free to do whatever you want. But I'm trying to do what I can for Oregon. So understand that I've got comments over on the Facebook page or the YouTube page. Hey, William, God bless you, my friend. There's William, who's typing in the comments right now. William is a decorated Vietnam War veteran. Blair says, hi, Bill. Wish you represented my district in Southern Oregon, but at least proud you're a voice for Oregonians. Thank you. All right, I'm going to sign off, but thank you, all of you. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you being here with me. Feel free to, when this is over, you can share the Facebook video or you can share the YouTube video over there and do whatever you want with it or not. I don't, whatever. No, Carrie, I ain't giving up. I'm just a little tired, beat up today. I'm a little grumpy today, but you've made me feel better talking with you guys. So have a great evening. We'll talk to you hopefully next Friday night for another Friday Night Live edition of formerly the Bill Post radio show, now the state representative Bill Post radio show. Big deal. Have a great evening.